Hello, and welcome to a new video here on the channel. Commenting on the topic of securing an earth slope with gabions, we are now at the fifth part of the project series. And I would like to share with you at this point, just giving a little interim update on how far I have come, especially here at this corner, where it has become a bit more complicated. I am truly very excited, looking forward to seeing you very soon. Music. Yes, my dear ones, while up on the hill with my lawn irrigation system, continuing on, I am down here securing the earth slope itself. The stone baskets are now almost completely finished, and you can see that here on the side it goes quite deep into the earth, and the whole thing digging alone is no longer manageable. That's why I used a little trick over a distance of about 20 meters. I have already set up these baskets along here, and due to the play, what they could indeed give a little here to create a bend, which has so far represented the slope quite well, but here in the curve, however, it was simply too tight here so that I couldn't get around anymore. I had to work with shortening for the first time, and I then completed the whole thing. I did it in the following manner. Here, I just simply and neatly placed the baskets inside each other. Stacked on top of each other, you can also see here that this basket is just temporary for now, temporarily applied so that the whole thing does not quite work out, and once the filling has begun, I will then adjust the whole thing accordingly. Cutting here. I have now carefully and precisely reached the point that the slope has indeed risen quite a bit in height, and I am now here. I didn't want to dig down into the depth, so I simply took the partition walls of the gabions and have here a substructure. A structure has been built that will also be filled with stones. And on this substructure follows the actual gabion wall, and in terms of height, you should imagine it like this. The gabions that you see here. On the right side of the image, you can see that it is exactly in line with this gabion that you have in the back. In the picture, that means I will now place these stone baskets down here. Fill 3 pieces with stones that are not really in the visible area. On these 3 gabions, stones will then come, followed by the metric stone. Baskets on top, and then I have a total height that is flush with my already existing wall, but here I also had to do some tinkering, and you can see it here at this curve to then get an alignment in this direction. This is the yellow line here. I also have the yellow string here. Baskets stacked inside each other. You can see that here, currently, everything is still not secured. And on top of this, the second gabion basket will be placed. Just have to test it out. Maybe someone has a tip. For me, whether I can simply do the whole thing here with the bolt cutter here, separate, or whether I should just leave it as it is and go through the weight of the other bodies should also be relativized. I will now just continue to level this area by digging down a bit more to the other gabions. There isn't much left anymore. The height itself corresponds to these. Here this basket here in front, and then it is my goal. If I now build the whole thing step by step here, exactly over there, to leave an opening to then place it next to the already existing gabion here, where the conduit is located, to install a staircase in order to access quickly, to come down from my garden path onto the lawn area. It is still important to consider everything that might come up later. Consider you see an empty conduit lying here, you see also the rest of my potential balance lying here that I have here. I have incorporated it along the entire length that the empty pipe itself, I have no idea how. I don't really know how much of it I will actually need, but it doesn't hurt to have it in there. I will definitely do it by the latest, for the control of the lawn irrigation system. I need both the empty conduits and the already installed water pipes. Regularly and frequently placed at relatively short intervals under the stone baskets. You'll see that right over here when I simply zoom in. Simply for the reason that I don't want to have any problems later on when I'm here. Pipes are pulled in so that they no longer fit through, making it difficult to thread them in. Therefore, I prefer to use smaller ones here. Distances, and then simply place distribution boxes here in the ground. Waterproof distribution boxes for a speaking forwarding to ensure the baskets here I have already securely in place with. I filled the laying gravel simply to have some play to position the baskets already. To stabilize something so that the stones I then fill in will, at the bottom, it should not slide down. The whole thing is built on the natural ground. Built into the ground means that the statics should definitely be sufficient downwards, from the height of approximately 10 to 15 centimeters. These baskets will disappear in the later topsoil layer, which means the empty pipes that you see here will be used later. Be below the earth layer well, and now it's time to continue digging. The remaining baskets up here need to be set up like the whole structure then. It looks like it stays on. I'll show it to you shortly. The baskets are now all set up, as you can see, and they fit with the slope. Pretty good. I have already threaded the empty pipe. In the background, it looks like this. Now the potential cable, I will connect it directly with the wire baskets. Additionally, connect to further potential or in additional conductors to produce. And then I will use the laying gravel for the whole thing. Underpinning and aligning from the slope. Yes, it all fits already, but the inclination forward and backward is not quite right yet. I will do that with my laying gravel, and you will see it there. Back, that's not quite as optimal as I am. I had imagined it here, but there is quite a large gap. But the soil that will be applied here later, and the necessary nutrients for growth, will be approximately at the same level as the lower edge there, so that it should then support the whole area here with approximately a full meter of grown soil. Like the stone basket goes on top, the load should definitely hold. Compare this wall right here, which has been standing for approximately over 10 years now. Because in the middle there is approximately a 30-meter tall beach from half a year ago. The stone baskets were completely destroyed when it came crashing down, but also here without a foundation or similar things have held up. Therefore I am also confident that it won't be much different over here. That means now the potential at the terminals, then it will come at the back. Then the geotextile will be added so that no soil washes away, and then the whole thing will be completed. Properly and precisely aligned. So the baskets are completed and aligned, as you can see. I generously applied the laying gravel everywhere on the back, the geotextile. The whole thing is now secured and aligned in line with a string line. And of course also in height the baskets have a slight slope. Towards the slope, this should also be the case, so that the pressure that will later occur over the soil is better moved by hand, either to be transferred or removed. As you can clearly see, right here in the front, it will definitely be a bit tricky. I have now carefully and meticulously built the entire structure here with bricks. Also generously feeding on the other side. I have already done this here. Started bringing in old stones. This area will not be visible later. The level will be approximately at this height here, which means a part will be here. Nevertheless, I have to keep it open. I need to see how I will handle the whole thing if necessary. I will just form the whole thing here and add a bit more concrete. To introduce that, I am setting a ring anchor here, or something in that direction. Yes. As you can see here, the geotextile has been carefully laid out first and extended to the corner, and securely. The second row of baskets will come later, but I can only incorporate that now. When of course the rows are filled down here. I have now also just simply and carefully placed the spirals everywhere except at the front. The longitudinal spirals around the whole thing when aligning are indeed more yes or better, to achieve and have more stability. Without these spirals, the baskets are quite wobbly, and then I get annoyed afterwards when it hasn't quite fit on the back. You can already see it now. How it is supposed to be, I have already prepared the area below. Filled in so that the geotextile is not blown away. Currently, it is then additionally and securely secured the whole thing with additional small and durable cable ties for extra security. What you can see here are these small, handy cable ties. I have a collection of them stored safely inside, ready for various uses. These ties are incredibly versatile, perfect for organizing cables, securing items together, or even for creative projects. Potential that is nevertheless still accommodated. In this segment, we present a detailed and comprehensive view from the rear perspective. Occasionally, it is important to note the subtle nuances and intricate details that can be observed from this angle, providing a richer understanding of the overall scene. The soil has already fallen from the slope. For that reason, it was necessary that I will just hasten my pace a little bit, but I will not bring in more soil at this particular moment. For now. Prevent the bodies from slipping too far, so they hold them. They remain stable and no one is pulling at them anymore. But if several tons of soil do come here after all, I personally believe that everything is not so completely secure there. Well, and now the next one follows. Carefully step the introduction of the stones. It will now take a lot longer than expected. It is very labor intensive and very strenuous work, and my objective is to be here for this nearly 30 extremely baskets that I have here. Yes, to let a large truck come to this area. Can drive in and dump the entire thing somewhere here, and so that I absolutely have to do that right at the very front in this specific area. It's necessary. make a solidification because there is definitely my sewage shaft and it is not possible, especially not for 40-ton trucks. I still need to make preparations in advance. That will happen in a few weeks. I hope you stay involved when ideas come up. If you have suggestions, feel free to use the comments to write to me about all products. The ones I am using here I have also included again at the bottom, added to my link list, and until next time, thank you very much for watching. The background is filled with a soothing and uplifting instrumental music piece that gently plays, creating a serene and inspiring atmosphere. This music, with its harmonious melodies and calming rhythms, softly envelops the surroundings, providing a tranquil and peaceful backdrop that enhances the overall ambience.